Good morning, everyone. So it is very, very dark here this morning. It is about 5 minutes to 6 a.m., but I figured I would let you say hi to Lukey Duke because it's been a while. Hey, Luke. It's dim. It's very dim. Hey, Lukey Duke. Can you say hi to the camera? Can you say hi, buddy? He has no interest in being social, apparently. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you guys in the tripod, and I'm going to turn you around. Hold on. Here we go. Good morning, everyone. It is New Year's Eve. It is New Year's Eve, and it's really dark. I only have on one light. Let me turn on just another one. See if that helps. It helps a little bit. That's all right. You guys are used to hanging out with me in the dim lighting. So, I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas. Let me get you down a little bit. We'll see. We'll just see what we need to do once we start laying the cards, right? Okay, so, yes, today is the last day of December. So, we're still in the month that we call December, still in the year that we call 2025. It is the very last day. It is New Year's Eve. And like I said, it is almost 6 o'clock a.m. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, a nice Christmas Eve, and that you've all been doing well. We had snow. We had a storm. I showed you the storm. The storm didn't amount to much of anything, but it snowed for a long time. It started snowing Christmas Eve, and it continued to snow throughout Christmas Eve, which was nice. And that storm front only gave us about an inch, maybe a tad more, not much. But it was nice just to see it falling and to see some white on the ground. And then Christmas Day, it snowed again, and that storm front snowed for a long period of time. And once again, very, very small accumulations. So, I was going to come on Christmas Eve and do a reading, but that was the day that I had stayed up till midnight the night before, getting things ready for Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Eve was the night that we did our Christmas with my son and his girlfriend. So I stayed up late the night before, didn't get to bed until after midnight. And then I got up and I was busy rocking and rolling to pull it all off so that we could have our meal by 3 and then do our tree and hang out and have a nice visit. And so we did that, and then we stayed up till after midnight that night too, so I was exhausted. And then Christmas Day, my boyfriend ended up getting an infected tooth. So I just have been trying to keep things really quiet around here since then. He stayed home Friday, and so I was going to do a reading for you folks then, but he stayed home, and I was trying to be very, very quiet so he could get some sleep. It's been very hard for him to sleep at night. And then, so yesterday, the day before, because today is Wednesday, so Monday, I didn't have any power. We had an ice storm come in, and I didn't have power, so I couldn't do a reading for you folks. I was getting ready to set up a reading Monday morning, and the power went out. And that made everything pitch black because it stays dark here for quite a while in the morning. So everything was pitch black, and even if it hadn't have been, I wouldn't have been able to do the reading because it would have used a lot of my battery and I couldn't charge it. So I went most of the day, Monday, until late afternoon without power here because we had this ice storm that had come through. And then they restored it pretty quick, which was nice. I was hoping we wouldn't go a week without power. And then yesterday, I was just exhausted. And I was exhausted. And so in the morning when I would have normally done the reading for you guys, I was just sitting here with my head kind of fuzzy. And so now I'm finally back. But I hope that you guys have all had a wonderful holiday, your wonderful holiday celebrations, and that you've enjoyed the holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate, I hope that it's been really nice for you folks. So today is New Year's Eve. And we're moving out of the year 2025, which breaks down to a 9, which is completions, end in cycles, things like that. And we're moving into 2026, which is 10-year, which is a 1 amplified by 0. So that's all about new beginnings and whatnot. So it should be interesting to see what the new year has in store for us all as far as lessons and experiences. And so that's the universal year, right? So it's a universal year that we're moving into, which is a 1, which is new beginnings. And you can take and learn your personal year by taking your birthday and your birth month and then adding it with the year 2026. And you can get your personal year to see what your personal challenges and your, the thing where you're going to be at in your personal life. And then once you know that, once you know where you're going to be at in your personal life, and then you think about where we're at universally as far as the year goes, you can really get an understanding of the types of energies that you in your life are working with. All right, so I'm just going to shuffle these cards. The first thing I want to know is, according to our Creator, the Creator that loves all in creation, that created all in creation, the Most High God, not the one that's jealous and spiteful and hateful, but the one that loves all of us. I would like to know what our Creator and the universe want to give us for one card to show us what we're going to be moving into overall, how they see it as we move into the new year, what we call the new year, 2026. So let's start there with one card. Please and thank you. What does the energy look like as we're moving into what we call the year 2026? And closing out the year 2025 with one card. All right, let's see. So the healing intentions are always set for you folks. Always, always, always. If you so choose and you want that, go ahead and breathe that in. and decree that for your highest and greatest good, only and always. And don't follow any links or emails in the comment section of the channels from anybody soliciting you for anything. That would be scammers, so don't do it, okay? All right, so let me just, I know it's dark, but let me just angle you guys down just a little bit. And let me show you what we drew, because it is very dark. We drew the ace. So the Ace of Swords. So just like we were saying with that new year, 2026, that is about beginning new things. And so with the Ace of Swords, in this deck, I'm using the Deviant Moon deck, you guys. So in this deck, I know it's hard to see. In this deck, it's a female, right? And so she is holding this sword close to her. And the vines go up the sword, so life in the sword. And then the vines meet her crown that she's wearing on top of her head. So life in that crown, that golden crown. Swords, remember, are always their energy, right? So their frequency, energy, technology. They're also thoughts, words, ego. They're moved by air, so they move pretty quickly. So when you look at this Ace of Swords, it's not just about something new starting, but it's about holding that vibration close to your heart, because her hands are at her heart chakra, and then the sword goes up to her crown chakra, and it's very pointy. It meets right in with her crown, and it's pointing upward to those higher frequencies, those higher dimensions, that higher knowing. And there's a lot of life there in that sword, and a lot of life around that crown. So a new journey, new beginnings, new thought patterns, new ideas, new ways of looking at things, more awakening, life in awakening, lots of life in people's crown chakras, and just shifting gears, basically, right? And the possibility of new technologies and new ways of doing things. So with that card, let's just let them talk a little bit more. Let's get a 7-card spread so that they can go on and tell us a little bit more about the things that we can expect in this new year as we start this new year of new beginnings. So opening the hearts with higher frequency, that love vibration, that joy vibration. Creating words and thoughts and ideas in our own minds that are full of life and abundant rather than, negative thoughts. All sorts of new possibilities for more people waking up and seeing things differently with clear eyes. Lifting our own vibrations, continuing to work on our frequencies. Lots going on in the silver market, you guys. For all of you guys that have invested in silver, it must be very exciting for you to watch the price of that increase. All right, so let's do a 7-card spread. I might have to move you around a little bit more, but let's see what else goes with this Ace of Swords. Frequencies, frequencies, frequencies. Yeah, I can tell I already have to move you guys a bit. I'll pick them all up and show them to you, obviously. pretty much more of the same during the Great Awakening process, right? So let me slide you back just a little bit. I know it's dark, you can't see them, but we'll make it work. We'll talk about it. I'll tell you what they are. I'll try to show them to you. We'll go from there. So, new beginnings, as we discussed, and then let's talk about our pathway. So the energy that is driving the reading, that's driving the largest pathway, and that's driving the story around this pathway that we're traveling, is the High Priestess, and that's a major arcana card. And I'm sorry that you can't see it, but I like my mornings dim. So the High Priestess in this deck, she is lifting her vibration to a point where it's uncomfortable. And then she tries to find a little balance in that, right? So that's always the encouragement, is continue to lift your own frequency. When you feel frequencies that feel different than what you're accustomed to, that means that you've opened yourself up more. Your frequency is rising, and now your body just needs to become accustomed to holding those frequencies. And then once we become accustomed to holding those frequencies, and we're not feeling the discomfort or the resistance in our bodies any longer, we work to lift that frequency again, right? So until we're feeling all sorts of things, and then we integrate that so that our body becomes accustomed and can hold it without resistance, and then we go higher. So that's how we continue to expand, and that's how our gifts open up. That's how our intuition gets stronger. That's how we change our thought patterns, because when we're connecting in to our Creator and we're pulling that light into our own body and we're lifting our own vibration, and we're doing this every single day so that we can continue to expand and hold that vibration, everything shifts. Your mindset shifts. The way you look at things shifts. Everything shifts. And the negative thought patterns and the ego don't win anymore. Everything shifts. So that's always the advice. Continue to work on our own vibration. And then so we come up from this vibrational shift with the High Priestess to the point where some people will be uncomfortable. So I'm sure the Schumann resonance is going to continue to lift. Universal energies will continue to lift, and people will be uncomfortable. Hopefully all of us here are doing our own work and pulling light and shifting our own vibrations. And if we're shifting our own vibrations, honestly, those universal vibrations and the Schumann resonance aren't going to bother us, because we're already vibrating there and we're going higher. So we're not going to be impacted by those subtle energies, because we're going to be already there and possibly above that and seeking to go higher through our own work. Does that make sense? But it does look as though people's vibrations are going to continue to lift, and there's going to be vibrational discomfort. So that's what's driving everything and the new beginnings, okay? We're going to come up and we're going to talk about things happening now. All right. So we're coming up from that High Priestess. The beginning of our story is the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups in this deck is her hair is lighting up. So her crown chakra, her psychic energy is awakening. It's lighting up. And there are things that are stacked up behind her that are meant to feel not so great. And with this 8, the 8 is that higher power, that very spiritual number that goes on for infinity. It's abundance in all things, right? It's a very, very good number. So she's working with this vibration of 8. Her crown is waking up. She's tuning into her higher knowing. And she's saying, I'm not going to look at these things that don't feel good. She's walking away from emotional triggers, okay? She's not looking. Now, right above her, the energy that's hovering her is on point and on path. That's the on point and on path card. That's the 7. So that's the seeker. So that's the seeker of higher wisdom, higher knowledge, higher knowing, spiritual expansion. That's the seeker. And so what I'm seeing here is because with the seeker, that's a young energy. She's like a 12-year-old little girl walking down this path alone at night, in the dark, hands out in front of her because it's a little scary. But the path around her is bloomed in full bloom with these beautiful fiery flowers there on her rods. So this is physically the day-to-day thing. This is on point and on path, that more people wake up, refuse to be emotionally triggered, allow that higher knowing to come into being, and they start trusting that we're on point and on path, and they start following the path that we're meant to be on. Okay? So the discomfort, the energy rising, is what's helping the awakening, and this is where we're meant to be. So we're still going through the Great Awakening. You know what I mean? It's not like a pop event where it just happens and everybody just falls into place. This has been ongoing for a long time. And they're letting us know that as we move into 2026, we're still going to be in the midst of this Great Awakening. Many more people need to awaken. Many people have woken up to the ongoings of the world and the politics and the BS there, but they still have their spiritual awakening to happen. And until you've truly spiritually awoken, it's very easy to become emotionally triggered by the crap that's going on in the world, right? And so that's why that vibrational lift, and the advice with that is to keep doing your own work so that you're not emotionally triggered and you don't get brought down by the world events, but you keep going in your spiritual awakening, waking up that crown, seeing things different, knowing that we're on point and on path, and trusting the process rather than, being down in the doldrums and seeking happiness outside of yourself. All right, so let's do our pathway now, okay? So I've explained to you that there's more vibrational shift that's going to happen. People will become uncomfortable. More people are going to wake up in the crown. They are going to decide to quit looking at the things that trigger them emotionally, and they're going to just start following this new path that this awakening brings them to. And it's going to be a little bit sketchy, but this awakening is enticing people to continue to seek truth and knowledge, as well as their spiritual truth and knowledge. Okay? So this next year is going to be quite interesting because we come up from this vibration that's driving it all, and this vibration says we're going to a higher place, right? So the things that once happened in the dark or in the shadows or whatever, they can't live in this new vibration where we're moving to. So we have an ending that has to happen. Completion, right? And that's the 10, and that's our pentacles. So the pentacles in this card, I'm sorry that you still can't see it, but I'll tell you what it looks like. So it's the 10 of Pentacles, and it's a couple of people sitting there playing chess. How fitting. And underneath that table, there's a thief. Okay? So don't forget that the pentacles represent our earthly pleasures. That's our necessities in the whole 9 yards, right? Let me grab a drink. So, so what's going to be exposed? With the 10, there's an exposure. So there's an exposure of something that's been happening within our earthly assets. There's an exposure of a thief under the table. So an exposure of things that were being stolen or manipulated, think of it that way. But there's going to be some exposures and some endings to the way we did things with our physical assets here on the earth plane. And at the very top of this pathway, this is where we're at right now, you guys. At the very top of this pathway, we have the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is walking along the beach, which is, again, emotion. Cups are emotion. The moon is there, backlit. More emotion, right? And she's holding her cup in front of her, and it's overflowing. It's overflowing to the point where she's got her hand underneath it to catch the overflow, okay? So think of this in several different ways. There's going to be an end to the way some things are done with our physical assets here on this earth plane. In doing that, there's going to be an exposure of things either being stolen, manipulated, look at it however you want with that thief under the table. This is going to create a lot of feeling in some people, happiness in many people. And it could also create feelings of anxiety. And I'm going to explain to you why this is going to be like different for different people. But it could be also feelings of anxiety because across from this, I'm not going to look at the shit that triggers me anymore. You do have the Hermit card. All right, another major arcana card. But during these endings and these reveals, a lot of people are going to have a lot of big feelings with that queen. So their feelings are actually going to get so big that they're going to explode out of that cup. It will depend on how you feel about things to begin with as to how you feel about this. So, just think about it. You all might be excited to see exposure happen and you're feeling so happy. And other people that didn't understand things like this were going on in the system might be feeling angry. Their anger might be exploding because they didn't already know. See, all of you have already had the chance to get mad about the way things have been going. And so you might be feeling very happy when the exposure comes out and the ending of something, the way it's being done, happens. But they will maybe feeling very angry. They could also be feeling very disappointed because possibly they trusted whatever this exposure is and whatever this ending will be, right? So they might be feeling very disappointed, very angry. They could also be feeling a lot of anxiety because of this Hermit card that is across from allowing the crown to wake up and not allow yourself to get triggered, right? And to tap into your highest self. That's the path we're meant to be on. But the Hermit is right across from that. And the Hermit says, I am so sick of seeing this shit. I am so sick of hearing this shit. The world out there is crazy making. I'm going to retreat into my cave. I'm going to continue to just allow these cycles to end with that 9. I'm going to be the humanitarian. I'm going to be getting out of this crazy making energy, and I'm going to center myself into my heart and kind of get myself straight and allow that crap to happen without me, because this is crazy making. And diagonally up from that crazy making card is the Queen of Cups. So some people might feel like they might bypass disappointment. They might bypass anger, and they might be like, what in the world? This is crazy. I can't believe this. So shock and awe, crazy feeling, right? And so there's a lot of emotions that will be reigning this year as we move into this new year, as what's right in between us, which is ending of earth plane cycles, and and assets, because that's our pentacles, as this kind of unfolds more and we see more change and exposure in this pentacle section, which is our assets. So think about that exposure in more money laundering, exposure, fraud, exposure in the way the banks do things. Maybe as you continue to see silver rise, who knows what's going to happen in that financial sector. So there's going to be a lot of feeling all around the board. Now, some people are going to be like, I'm just going to go with my intuition, because their crown's waking up. They're going to continue to seek the wisdom, seek the knowledge. They're going to know it's a sketchy path, but they're going to tap into that higher way of being, and they're going to trust, and they're going to fill themselves up with happy emotions, loving emotions, joyful emotions that will help get them through this period of time. But not everybody is going to be there. So emotions will be high all across the board, you guys, as we move into 2026. And, more of this great awakening. There's going to be a lot of emotions going on. Now, atop of the Hermit, we have the Page of Swords. And don't forget that the Hermit is a major arcana card. So what's driving our whole reading is a major arcana, big picture. So that's a continual vibration of things that make people uncomfortable. And then the crazy making card, the retreating, is also a higher arcana card, and that is big picture. So we've got two major arcana cards in this 7-card spread with this 8th card here that we started with. But atop of that Hermit, where it's like retreat, and some people will do this naturally because they're in a place where they're just allowing for their higher knowledge to come in. So some people will do this naturally. Others will feel like forced into it, right? Because we've got all of these different types of emotions. So they'll feel forced into it. They'll feel a bit crazy for a while. This is a time, though, that helps for new energy to come into people so that they can see clearly and know clearly with this Page of Swords. So all of this is part of your Great Awakening. And it's these different feelings that will be ignited in people, and these different vibrations and these different exposures that is going to be part of what lifts people into seeing things differently, knowing things differently, tapping back into getting those intuitive hits, learning how to trust the process. And for some people that takes longer than others, because ego needs to be moved out of the way. And I'm telling you, if you do your own work with this High Priestess, and you take even 20 minutes a day, just 20 minutes, and you spend it, instead of on the computer going down rabbit holes or listening to truthers or podcasts, and you sit quietly and you ground into earth and you go up into your creator's energy and you pull that light into your body, you will begin learning to trust the process and not be in fear, and you will be seeing things and knowing things clearly, and you won't be emotionally triggered, and your world will change. It will change. And I know most of you are already doing that, but it just makes a huge difference. And it really, it stops you from being emotionally triggered. It allows you, like this page of swords, it allows you to see clearly. So you're not fooled and tricked by the world stage antics. And you're not fooled and tricked into the world stage antics by getting upset, right? So when these exposures happen with this 10 and certain things are happening and it might feel scary to some people with this Hermit, you will be able to clearly know and clearly see with this page, if that's the work that you're doing, you'll be able to know and see what's just all fake and meant to trigger people and what's real, and you'll have this intuitive knowing of what it is you need to do for yourself and your family. And you won't have to worry so much about that outside world. Is that making sense? And you'll cut right through the bullshit. You'll sniff it out like that, and you just won't pay attention to it because it's not meant for you, right? So this is continuing on into the year 2026. So more of the same. We're living through a time where we're breaking old paradigms, and it's a very interesting time. And I know everyone wants it to happen in a hot minute, but I'm impressed with how many people woke up in 2020. As that old time conspiracy theorist myself, who's been a conspiracy theorist for a very long time, who grew up with conspiracy theorists, 2020 came in and did things as far as waking people up like I had never seen in my lifetime. And so now we're having the remnants that's a lot of people came to in 2020, but a lot of people came to in 2021 with the forced mandates, and more people have been coming to. And we have more of that happening as we move into 2026. So let me just get a couple more cards. And that will do it for this piece of the reading here. Just a couple more cards. So more vibrational shifts, more waking up, more emotional triggers, more exposures, more endings. Know that this is we're on point and on path. Protect your own emotions. Keep tapping in so you can see things clearly. Retreat if you need to. Keep working on your own vibration. Emotions will be high as we move into 2026. They've been high people's emotions have been so high. Emotionally triggered, crazy times we've been living in. All right, so we have the first card I pulled was the 5, Great Change Through Chaos. That's the 5 of Pentacles. And the 5 of Pentacles is laying over the emotions. And for me, that's the systems. So People are going to get really emotional and highly triggered over these systems that are going through great change. Don't look at it, is the advice, because that's also laying over the, I'm not going to look at the stuff that triggers me. Don't look at it. Don't allow yourself to get triggered over the exposures. And that's going to be part of the exposure, because these two pentacles. So we're going to see a lot of exposure with money and systems. So banking systems and governments and how they use our money and our assets and all of that stuff. It's going to be a lot of exposure there. Banks, all of that. So that's where we're going to see a lot of exposure, great change, and endings coming in. We're on point and on path, because that's laying over the on point and on path. It might feel a little sketchy, right? As these things kind of shift and change, it's going to feel sketchy a little bit, but don't allow it to trigger you, okay? Don't get too emotional about it. Don't be triggered, because we're on point and on path. This has been a long time in the making, because now we have that 8 of Swords, and that 8 of Swords is laying over the 5 of Pentacles, which is the great change coming to these systems. It's laying over the ending where the thief under the table is exposed. It is touching the emotional queen, right? It's touching the hermit, the big picture, retreat. It's going to seem crazy. And it's touching the look at things clearly. So that's the sword. So this is what they're saying here with this. Listen, the information has been lined up out for a long time around these systems, how they use your assets, how they watch you and monitor you, and how the thief under the table has been very much alive and active. They're saying that information has been there for a long time. And it's straight. Those swords are straight, lined up. So, honest truth about all of this stuff, right? What's happening is this exposure isn't for us because we already know it. What's happening is the moon is coming down and blowing on this woman here, waking her up to actually see this information that's been out there for a long time. And she's going to be more affected by this and feel a bit crazy, and her emotions are going to overflow. So in other words, they're saying for the people that haven't believed that there's been mass fraud, let's say for the people that haven't believed that, let's just say that gold and silver have been manipulated in price and value. For the people that haven't believed that the banking systems use your money for nefarious things or whatever. For the people that haven't believed all of these things that conspiracy theorists like you and I have believed and known for a long time, they're going to get really woken up this year, because this information is going to be undeniable, okay? And they're gonna wake up with this moon blowing down on their crown, and they're gonna see things probably for the first time with this page. They're gonna see things clearly, because it's gonna be presented in an undoubtable way, and they're gonna have to be forced to know things that they are uncomfortable knowing. And it's going to make them feel crazy with the Hermit. And then what we did was we laid, then we come down and this Ace of Wands laid over that, right? So we're going to be starting a new journey here on the Earth plane, because it's covering the Earth plane cards. And it's the Ace. It's a new journey. It's a physical journey because it's the rods. So we're going to be starting a new journey on this earth plane. In what? In our earthly pleasures sections, because she's covering the ending of cycles with this thief being exposed, and she's covering the system that's fallen apart through chaos, and she's covering the information that has been out there all along for it. So it's time to start something new. And with the Ace of Wands, it is something new that is nurturing. She is nurturing this little baby. Her rod is really big. It's really big, and it's full of passion and flame, and it's symbiotic with the earth, with her, and with nature, because there's the little bug crawling up it, and you know, there's wings on her back. She's completely connected to nature, and it's a very loving, beautiful card. So it's covering this this shift and this change in this financial sector, the earthly pleasures sector. It's time for something better, more nurturing, that works better, and it's inevitable. So anybody that's holding on to old paradigms, in the old way of being, the universe is telling us that old way of being, that structure, it was never meant. It was built in chaos. So that 5, right? So those systems were built in chaos, and chaos always brings change. So these old structures that we've been working with were never meant to last, because they were always built in chaos, needing change. And so we're kind of hitting that point, is what they're saying, where they're going to inevitably have to change, because there's going to be enough exposure so that they can. And I just find it interesting, because the last 2 readings that I did, they wanted to talk about earthly pleasures and the assets too. So 2026 must be a year where we're really going to see, I know we've been being threatened with this change for a long time, but it feels as though with the last 2 readings that I did, and now this one, it looks like things really are on the cusp of major change. And, you know, we've been building to this point, and there's going to be more exposure coming. So that's what I'm getting, you guys. Take from it what you will, toss the rest. That's how we do it, right? Take what resonates and toss the rest. So, so it looks to me, with what you've been telling us over the last 3 readings, we're pretty close to seeing major change, and not just major change, but major exposure with our finances, with our money, who's using it, what they're doing with it, the thief under that table, and also the system itself, the systems that are using those finances. It looks like we're in the midst of getting some major exposure there. And that's why you keep that's why we've had these conversations the last 3 times I've done a reading for the channel. Is that correct? And then we'll see. Looks like major exposure coming, major shifts, major changes. That's good. That's good. Those systems were kind of broken. So is that correct? Please and thank you. Major change coming. We're going to see some major things. Please and thank you. Yes, Page of Swords. We're going to see and know things. Major change is coming that it's inevitable. We're going to see it clearly, and we're going to know it clearly. And with that Page of Swords, there's things that will be exposed with that fresh energy, you guys, that we might not know about or might not have talked about on the channel, or, you know, but it's gonna create a big wake up for a lot of people. So, with that being said, I've been on here pretty close to an hour. I'm going to ask for advice for all of us in these days to come where exposure is going to happen. Things might seem a little sketchy. People will be upset. You know, we got advice in the 7-card spread because there's always advice to those cards, right? But does the universe want to say anything to us personally for advice around these exposures within these earthly assets and money sectors that are going to be coming, and the great change that is going to hit those systems because of it? Is there any advice for us? Please and thank you with 1 card. What do you want to leave us with for advice? Advice. All right, so with advice, what are they leaving us with? They're leaving us with the 5 of Cups. So with that 5 of Cups, that's chaos, that's emotionally triggering, and great change coming in, right? So the advice with that would be, don't be emotionally triggered, and don't listen to people that are trying to dominate you. So really be intuitive and don't be emotionally triggered. And with this card, that 5, you have this smaller child, right? Somebody who's younger, doesn't have as much knowledge, right? And then you have this big old woman behind him, and she's screaming and pointing her finger and really dominating him. And he's really upset. He's sitting on the wall. He doesn't know what to do. His emotions are spilling out everywhere. And there's 2 cups lined up beside him on that wall. And, you know, they're full cups. He's already made mistakes by spilling some of his cups because she's got him frazzled, right? So the advice there is, be very careful who you listen to. Don't allow people to dominate you and be overbearing. Really, really don't allow the emotional triggers as we go through these great changes, because you need to retreat. Retreat from people telling you what to do. Okay, retreat from people that are upsetting you. With this, the Hermit says, this is crazy. I'm going into the cave. So the Hermit just got laid over the 5 of Cups, okay? So retreat from people bossing you or telling you what to do. Retreat and kind of regroup and gather yourself. Don't fall into the fear that may be being put out there for people to get highly upset, make stupid mistakes. And then we have that 10 as that cycle ends, that thief being exposed. And that is hovering the 5 up here, the 5 of Cups. So it's right over that. So these people that are emotionally triggering you, trying to make you feel afraid and upset, retreat from them, because they very well could be the thieves under the table themselves. The universe is telling you to be very, very, very discerning, because there may be people out there who are screaming at you to do X, Y, and Z with your assets, and you better hurry the hell up, because if you don't, all will be lost, and you're so upset you don't know what to do. And retreat. The universe says, be the Hermit and retreat. Don't listen, don't look. Pull yourself together, get into that higher vibration, and understand that a lot of these people saying things may be the problem. They're part of the system, so they would be either scammers or they would literally be part of the system, trying to blackpill you and maybe get you to make bad decisions, you guys. So the universe is saying be very, very, very careful. Then the last card that I pull is it's the 2 of Rods, and in this deck it's He's harvesting garlic, right? So we're in the beginning of a harvest. There's the beginning of a harvest that's happening. So you be very careful that you don't listen to people that would look to be stealing your harvest. And because this harvesting is, we're at the beginning of something very abundant. And there are people out there that want to get you upset with this 5 so that you get upset, emotionally triggered, and make mistakes, and they can tap into your harvest. Okay? Retreat from this shit. Don't be black-pilled. Don't be hopiumed either. Be very, very, very careful and discerning. Retreat with this hermit. Don't listen, don't look. Tap in, get into your highest self. Be very discerning. Use your intuition. A lot of these people that are trying to trigger you and me and anyone who will listen are part of the system. They're part of the system. So could be people that are part of the cabal, could be just plain old scammers, but we have to be very, very discerning because they're part of this system as it breaks down. And if they can get you upset, okay, so that you're making mistakes, then they can take your harvest. Does that make sense? So that's what we're being told. This is a time where you just can't believe everything you hear. You got to climb higher. And that's why it would be really good to, if you're not doing it already, to literally tap into source and fill your body with that light every single day, because it sheds things, it moves the ego out, it activates your DNA, it activates the God codes, it activates your God-given gifts, and you'll be more intuitive and able to follow what is best for you. And this is a time where great discernment is needed, you guys. And so it must be a big deal because this is 3 readings in a row. So I don't know, people are probably getting scammed left and right. I don't know what's going on, what will go on. Please be very careful. With that, we're going to let them leave us with 1 card. Please and thank you. As the energy stands now, with the advice that you've given us, with the knowledge that you've given us, as the energy stands right now, what would you like to leave us with, please and thank you? What would you like to leave us with? One more shuffle, and we'll cut them. Whoop, that was false. We're going to keep that. And we're still going to pull this because that was the intention. So, the one that I pulled from the top is the 3 of Rods. And the 3 of Rods is joy. 3 is always joy, right? And it's nurture, because a 3 looks like, when you write the number down, it looks like a woman's breasts. And a woman's breasts are for nurture, okay? And so with the 3 of Rods in the Deviant Moon deck, this is a pregnant woman. There you go, more nurture. She's pregnant. And then she's got 3 beautiful rods. And those rods are coming up. The whole stalk is green. They have beautiful leaves. And they're coming up into a flower that's budding and getting ready to bloom. And there's an umbilical cord that is going from her belly button, where she is pregnant, into the rods. So she's nurturing her physical journey. She's putting love and nurture into her day-to-day physical journey here on the earth plane. And she's standing in love, nurture, and joy. And she's feeding her own journey, and her own journey is feeding her back. So that's our advice. And the full moon is in this card, and it's blowing its light and its feminine energy down onto the physical journey, right? So stay in love, stay in joy, nurture your own physical journey. It will nurture you back. So again, they told us to pull away, retreat if we have to, be very smart, but, you know, retreat into our cave if we have to be able to just focus on us and our personal journey. And this is where we want to be right now, right? It's most important that we do that. Focus on yourself, nurture yourself, love yourself, put the nurture, the love, the joy into your own physical journey, and allow this process to nurture you back. And then the card that wanted to fall is Judgment. And that's a major arcana card. And that's the card that wanted to fall. So it's Judgment coming in and waking these people up out of their coffins and out of their caskets and blowing their horn loudly. And it's shocking, right? It's shocking. And that's the time that we're in. We're in a time of great judgment. And that judgment is coming in, and it's waking people up. And so if you're already awake and you're getting caught up in this shock and awe that is really meant for people that were not awake, then, you know, they've been telling us we need to retreat from that. Protect your own emotions. The news is not for you. Retreat with that hermit and just focus on nurturing you and your journey and doing the things that are right for you. And don't be black-pilled and don't be hopiumed. Really nurture your own journey and tap in and do your thing so that you can maneuver this time period that we're going through in the best of your ability. Okay? All right, you guys, I love you all. Happy New Year's Eve. If you're out on the road tonight celebrating, you're going to get the mom spiel for a minute. Please be careful. Please, please, please be careful. If you're celebrating with some drinks, how about not driving? You know, get a DD or call a cab or an Uber or something. Just don't drive. And honestly, if you're out there and you're not drinking, be very, very careful because everybody else is out there getting schnooked, driving around thinking that they've got this. So be very, very careful tonight. If you live in a cold part of the country, as I do, it's going to be very cold here tonight in Maine. We're in a cold snap. We had that ice storm and then we had a flash freeze. So stay warm, stay safe, stay happy. Yeah, it's a great night to sit down and think about what it is that you are choosing for yourself, for your emotional health, your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, for the new year. Write it down, speak it out loud. The things that you're choosing for your home, for your family, whatever it is that you're doing. It's a good night to sit and really just look at what it is that you really are choosing for this upcoming year, and then set those goals and stick to them. Don't write down things that are unrealistic, right? Because we have the whole year to continue to grow that list. So, you know, don't start out unrealistically. Like, say, for instance, if you need to lose 100 pounds, don't say I'm going to lose 100 pounds in the next month. Just say, I'm going to start seeing my body as beautiful, and I'm going to start seeing everything that comes into my body as nourishing and giving me what I want. And I'm going to start seeing my body getting rid of everything that it doesn't, and try to make, and then just make good choices or whatever. Don't put a lot of pressure on yourself because that sets you up to fall. Choose things, make it fun. Choose things that will lift your vibration, not make you feel defeated. Don't fall into the setting too high goals for yourself and then feeling defeated or overwhelmed. Don't fall into that. Just choose what it is that you want to start doing, seeing, being. Who do you want to be in this new coming year? All right. I love you all. So that's what I got, you guys. You can take from it what you want. And, whatever resonates. And toss the rest. I still haven't listened to anything. I haven't listened to anything. I haven't even listened to any of Donald Trump's speeches or anything, if he's made any. I haven't listened to a podcast. I haven't listened to anything. I've been quite caught up in my own life. And yeah, healing and choosing and shifting energy and just getting things ready for the new year myself. So anyway, yeah, if you guys know anything that's going on, I'd love to hear it. But I haven't been tuned in. I've been very, very focused on what it is that I'm choosing. So I love you all. Happy New Year. Have fun tonight. And I will see you all soonish. All right. Bye.